What about the empty tomb? That makes an appearance, certainly in Craig's apologetic for the resurrection, and it's commonly cited more broadly. What do we think about the empty tomb as a fact in our case?
Yeah, well, I think the evidence for the empty tomb is very good. Now, here's the thing. And I'm probably not being consistent. I don't include it. And I'm just thinking as we're talking here, I'm probably not being consistent by not including it. I'm willing to include that they believe Jesus was raised physically from the dead, bodily from the dead. But I'm not including the empty tomb. The thing with the empty tomb, you do have a majority of critical scholars who grant the empty tomb. The problem with it is that the vast majority of those are Christians who are granting it, Christian scholars who are granting it. You don't have many non-Christian scholars who are granting the empty tomb. And so I like to be careful with that because I want to have I want to be critical of my own position to make sure I am not accepting something as a fact too quickly, which now, maybe I've just kind of resolved this tension in my mind. You do have a number of non-Christian scholars, New Testament scholars, who acknowledge that the disciples believed Jesus had been raised physically, bodily from the dead, Bart Ehrman being one example of that. So you don't have many, even John Dominic Crossan says that Paul believed that Jesus was raised physically in the flesh. Whereas, you don't have a number of non-believing New Testament scholars who are doing historical investigations who will grant the empty tomb. Okay. So that's a reason I think that would give us pause. Am I accepting the empty tomb too quickly because of my own hopes? The confirmation bias that you mentioned earlier. I don't think so. And Dale Allison, in his 2021 book on the resurrection of Jesus, he accepts the empty tomb. And he's trying to be extremely careful not to allow his own inclinations to influence the things that he believes.
So I recently had Darrell Bock on to discuss the Gnostic Gospels, early Christianity, and related topics. And so one thing I'm curious about is how do we know what the earliest disciples actually believed? I think the common argument for people looking into the New Testament, the common skeptical argument, is that these are legendary developments, that just like figures in historical context elsewhere, the beliefs about a supernatural figure develop over time, long after the people who were originally acquainted with them have died off.